let's jump into Deshaun Watson. What's going on in that Browns building right now? I mean, they have to be shaken by the 24th lawsuit that led to Watson's own attorney saying we got to look into this, as opposed to like never could have happened in a million years with a behavior like that sort of thing. Jenny Vrentis's story, I mentioned earlier that the behavior that is laid out there can be termed as predatory. There's just no other way to put it when you read that sort of thing. He has every right to defend himself in this country, and there's a court of public opinion. He is losing in that court right now, getting routed, and he's got to show up for work next week. What is happening, Albert, right now?
So I think I'm going to give you one of the keys, and I don't have the answer to this question.
Okay.
How transparent has Deshaun Watson been with the Browns? How transparent has Deshaun Watson been with the NFL? That's, I think, an operative question here. I think it's a really, really important question. And we've seen the NFL come down harder on players in the past that weren't transparent with them. And they've always felt like they have to do that in large part because they don't have subpoena power, right? So they have to sort of set the example that if you don't cooperate with us, it's going to be worse on you. It helps them investigate future cases. So, like looking forward at this, and look, the accusations are awful, and I think that goes without saying, and I don't want to trivialize any of that. But just talking about this from a functional standpoint, what was in Jenny's report in the Times yesterday, and then what was in the 24th lawsuit, like how transparent was Deshaun Watson with the Browns, with the NFL about what was coming? Because I think that could affect where this goes. I don't think we're going to get word on a punishment like tomorrow. I know the NFL's feeling was maybe the best course of action was to wait until the period for pretrial discovery ends, and that ends on June 30th. So, like, their feeling was it's important to let any information that's going to come out before we make a final decision, and it doesn't really matter whether or not we make a decision before June 30th. It won't materially affect anything anyway. But I mean, I don't know, Rich. Do you think that maybe the league feels the heat now? Like, that they have to do something? I think that I think the feeling with the people in the Browns in the league up until now has been that they were going to get a decision on discipline right before training camp. But like the public pressure that's on the league and the Browns now, and then I think however transparent Deshaun Watson was with the Browns and with the league could certainly affect, the timeline and how this goes over the next few weeks.
I mean, is he not available for questioning next week, you don't think? I mean, it's mandatory minicamp. Every quarterback speaks. We've got Aaron Rodgers in front of his locker that we're going to be playing on. I mean, that's part and parcel. When you are the starting quarterback and certainly one of the most well-paid quarterbacks in the history of the league, I mean, honestly, and you could keep saying, you're going to respect the process. The Texans also in this story popped up a couple of times. What like that now opens up a completely different avenue of questioning right now, Albert. I know you don't have the answers, and I know the league doesn't appear to have them either, that they want more answers before acting. But isn't that what the commissioner's exempt list is there for? That we place someone aside, they're still paid, and we're just going to, we're going to remove this player from the public forum and the ability to ply a craft while we figure out what's what, right?
And Rich, they've used the commissioner's exempt list in that way in the past. I mean, they used it, I believe, in 2014 with Rice and Hardy and Peterson, right?
Yeah.
Like, they used it. And, there was a shift in the way that they've handled discipline the last few years. And that was, really a result of the Ezekiel Elliott case and Jerry Jones basically convincing other owners, like, we don't want to be judge, jury, and executioner anymore. We should let the legal process sort of lead us by the hand. And so, as a result of that, the league's stance on this has been, well, so long as there aren't criminal charges, we aren't putting him on the exempt list. And I would say this, too. I think the Texans really sort of bailed the league out last year in that sense, right?
Right.
Because the Texans just said, okay, we're not going to put him on the field. And Deshaun Watson was okay with going on paid leave, or in effect paid leave. It wasn't paid leave, but it was in effect paid leave. And so, both Watson and the Texans sort of bailed the league out.
But that was also at a time where we didn't know the details of what was going on. We just assumed it's because Watson insisted he would never play for them again, and why would they have that player out there on the field and run the risk of him getting hurt?
Yeah.
That was the backdrop of what we thought at the time was all of that.
But Rich, at the doorstep of training camp, you'll remember last year there was that question: is the league going to put him on the exempt list? And the narrative coming out of 345 Park was pretty consistently, unless there are criminal charges.
Right.
We won't do that. And then the commissioner actually came out and flat out said that in March. And so what I know about the commissioner's exempt list is Roger has great discretion, like a high level of discretion on this, right? So the narrative about the criminal charges, that's not really required. Like, he can put Deshaun Watson on the commissioner's exempt list as he sees fit. And I'm with you. Like, if they don't feel ready to suspend him, I sort of feel like this is what the commissioner's exempt list is there for, at least in the form that they've started to use it, really going back to that, September when the Ray Rice and Greg Hardy and Adrian Peterson cases happened all at once. It's, to take a guy off the field when it reflects poorly on the league what's going on. And so, I think next week's going to be interesting. Whether or not the Browns put Deshaun Watson out there is going to be interesting, in front of the media. And at this point, after, not making him available for the entire off season and sort of making Kevin Stefanski answer all the questions for everybody on this, I think it's very fair to question the Browns if they don't put Deshaun Watson out there. And I don't remember what the PFWA rules are about that, but I don't think they have to make him available. But, I think I think the optics are really horrible if they're hiding Deshaun Watson. Even if all they can do is put him out there and he just has to answer every question. I can't answer that because of the legal situation going on. I think the optics of not putting him out there and having him, face the music are not good for the organization.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.